to the Recapture and Reallocate workshop series. I'm excited about this one because we're introducing kind of a new aspect of living to learn, giving to earn, and collective momentum. Now this has a bronze guard because the activities are inside the wolf den. May very well just make this public because, you know, we like to help people and as much as possible. So this may end up being free, and that's okay. The question that we often find ourselves asking ourselves, or how can I have more, or some version of, if only I had more time, if only I had more energy, if only I had more effort to put forth. And the reality is most time we don't need more, and that kind of sketches people out because it's very obvious to them that yes, I need more time, yes, I need more money, etc., etc. And the argument is, until you have optimized what you have, you don't know if you need more. So the core concept is we optimize before we maximize. Credit Dan Nicholson. It is in his book, Rigging the Game, and it's just a framework that he's been using for like a decade in his practice. You've seen this before, Guardian Academy, and our 3 pillars, which we will come back to. Okay, so this is how this is going to work. 1, the workshop video. Learn the basic overview. That is this. So a workshop video goes out. This is for efficiency. Watch it on your own time, but try to watch it before we have a workshop so that you kind of have the framework in mind. Then there's going to be homework. That homework is the first part of the case process. Case, compile, analyze, strategize, execute, in that order. So first we must compile and analyze, and that's what your homework will be. Strategizing and executing we can do on a workshop with each other. Other people can help you, other guardians, other wolf den and wolf pack members can kind of help you strategize and execute, but you must compile and analyze on your own. Only you have this information. And then we're going to discuss. We're going to have an open discussion, and wisdom comes from multiple perspectives, and that we want to engineer the opportunity to get many eyeballs and many suggestions from many people within the Guardian Academy. And then we repeat and we iterate, and I'll mention this later. This is not a leap. This is like repeat, improve, repeat, improve, repeat, improve, recapture, reallocate. It's ongoing as we learn how to recapture our resources and reallocate them towards what matters. And in this series, this Recapture, Reallocate series, we'll do multiple videos, multiple examples, share multiple case studies, and do a ton of workshops. And the end result of each one, or even if it takes a series of them, is for you to say, I have recaptured blank currency. So this could be energy. I have recaptured time. I've recaptured 10 hours, or I've recaptured $1,000 that I can now reallocate to the thing that matters most to me. So I have recaptured 10 hours that I can now reallocate to spending time with my children. I have recaptured $1,000 that I can reallocate to my mortgage, whatever it is. Okay? And we'll talk about the different currencies shortly. Now, again, Guardian Academy, live to learn, give to earn. And so as you're going through this, I encourage you to get into the community and share right here. See, recapture, reallocate. There's the rules right here. And then right here's the chat. So what we're going to ask you to do is keep it pretty straightforward. I have recaptured this that I can now reallocate to that. Make it explicit. It's okay if it can even be affiliate links and all that stuff, but you must show how it has worked out in real life. Okay? If it's your own product, that's okay. If it's an affiliate link, that's okay. If it's just something you like or somebody that you know owns it, all of that is okay, but it's not, we don't want mindless shilling of stuff. We actually have to show this is what happened. Okay? So no marketing pitches in there, just lead by example. And if it's helpful to people, they will probably want to participate if it solves their problem. We also want to look at how do we reallocate things to our health, our wealth, and our accumulation of wisdom, which is just decision making. All right, now let's get into the currencies. So as we get into this, there are a infinite number of currencies that you could value. 2 helpful acronyms for me have been timer, time, identity, money, energy, reputation. Those are all currencies that we can spend and that we could trade for, and that they change. Time might be the most important thing for you right now, but later on, when you have a whole bunch of time and not a lot of energy, energy may become more important. So it's dynamic. So at any given time, we need to understand what currency are we optimizing for and what currencies are there that exist. Tammy is another one that I got from Joe Polish. So he says Tammy: time, attention, money, effort, energy. Where's my time going? Where's my attention going? Where's my money going? Where's my effort going? Where's my energy going? That's all resource allocation questions. Okay, so timer and Tammy. You write those down, take a screenshot, come up with your own. You may have a different set of currencies. Joy. One of Dan's is joy. And that's just what he optimized for. And you could have your own. All right, let's get into some examples really quick to paint a picture. Many of you know Laurel. This is Laurel Portier. She is a phenomenal human being. We had a conversation a couple years ago, and it came out. She goes, I'd really like to be able to buy my beach house in the next 5 years. So we compiled and analyzed, and I was like, Laurel, I think you could buy your beach house like right now, because you have a ton of resources that are going to things that are not as important. And if you recaptured those resources and reallocated them towards your beach house, you might be able to purchase it right now. So she had a conversation with Dan, and they did the whole exercise together. And she closed on her beach house a couple weeks later. So when we look at solvable problem, we were able to recapture and reallocate in a way that collapsed time. And 5 years turned into 3 weeks. But it wasn't a function of more. She didn't have to make more money or have more time or anything like that. She just had to recapture what was being hemorrhaged and reallocate it to something else, something more important. Okay. Now, here's a different angle, and this one goes a layer deeper. Had a conversation, it's probably 3 years ago now, with a business owner who said, I'd like to get 8 to 10 hours a week back to spend more time with my kids and get back to reading and writing. I didn't say that directly. That was after a bunch of questioning. That is what we got to was, okay, so you want to spend time with your kids and get back to reading and writing consistently because you are happiest when you're reading and you're writing. And he said, so I need to make an extra $10,000 a month or so to hire the people that will replace me so that I get the time back. So what this is a leap. He says, I need more time, and immediately leaps to more money being the answer. Now, maybe it is, but we need to compile and analyze, and we need to recapture and reallocate. What do we need to recapture? We need to recapture time, because that is the currency that you want more of. So if you are hemorrhaging time, just get that back first, and then we'll see how much of a gap there is to close. And so this is why we optimize first. Now let's go back to this example here. Our brains automatically design to make $10,000 a month or so to hire my replacements, meaning they would cost $10,000. Now in business, if we assume 20% profit margins, keep the math easy, you can change the profit margins and do the math easy enough. To make an extra $10,000 profit, the business would have to generate an additional $50,000. Okay, so we're trying to get time back by making an extra $10,000 in profit, but we would have to generate $50,000 to get $10,000 in profit with a 20% profit margin, which means all the things that come with generating an extra $50,000. We may very well lose a whole bunch of time in an effort to get our time back. And again, that still might be the way to go. So we had a conversation and we were talking through it, and through the dialogue, he said, okay, you want time back, where's your time going? It was really quick time on it. We didn't spend a ton of time on it. And it turns out he was driving 35 minutes each way. Didn't even think about it. Like, that's just what he had always done. Drove 35 minutes to the office. He's a business owner, so it's his office. Drive 35 minutes home. Said, okay, well, can you get an office that's closer to home? And that never crossed his mind because he just decided right up front, everything the same, I need an extra $10,000 in profit. So we went back and forth. had a second, and we actually had 3 or 4 calls, and realized, like, wait a minute, there's an office 2 minutes from your house. That's $2,000 a month. So you could pay $2,000 a month, move your office 35 minutes closer to home. And what happens is 35 minutes, drive there, 35 minutes, drive back. So you save 70 minutes here, 6 days a week. 7 hours recaptured that you could immediately spend time with his kids in reading. And this office is actually cheaper than the one he had before, but that's just more math. So the point being, you see how we can make a leap. Say, look, if we want to recapture time, let's figure out where our time is going. And if we can make improvements there, that's going to be the most efficient path. So we recaptured, reallocated, got 7 hours back. Now he still wants 1 to 3 more hours, and we would iterate again and solve for that. Right? We'd settle, zoom out, and then look again at the options. So it's not always about making more money. Sometimes it is. But first we have to recapture all of the resources that we are hemorrhaging that we think we need the money for. Now, if this was personal, just another angle on it. If you wanted the boat and it was whatever it cost, $10,000, it's probably not a very fancy boat for $10,000. At 20% tax rate, he's like, I really want this boat. That's the most important thing to me for whatever reason. A $10,000 purchase would require $12,500 in new income because of the 20% tax. This is after taxes, $10,000 after taxes. So you can see it is an outsized lift. It requires more money than what you need. And maybe doing more work, making more money is the most efficient path. But first, we would want to say, wait a minute, can we recapture some capital? Recurring charges, things that you don't use anymore, 5 Netflix accounts, subscriptions that you haven't used in 5 years. Like, can we recapture this to drive this number down, how much you actually need down, which would obviously decrease the amount of new income that you would need. So we want to recapture. If you want capital, we want to figure out where the capital is going. We want to recapture it, especially the recurring charges. Okay? So that's kind of big picture overview. And I'm going to give you a walkthrough in a second. The resources you need to actually go through all of those steps that I just kind of rattled off are in the resource allocation and recapture reallocate series, which are right here. Core concepts, force multipliers, go to resource allocation, and the videos, the walkthroughs, the audios, they're all there. So you might want to revisit those again before we workshop. Okay. Now, homework. Where to start? Okay, step 1. Just define your number 1 priority and appropriate timeline. I know there's a lot of things you want to do, but what is the most important thing to you right now in what timeline? You want a beach house in 5 years? Or do you want 8 to 10 hours a week back by the end of the year? Do you want more bandwidth? Maybe you have time to write, but your brain is just slogged down by so much stuff. So you want more bandwidth by, 2024. Whatever it is, write it down and get clear on it. Hey, understand it's a micro-step process. It's not a leap. So we're not necessarily going to solve for your beach house tomorrow. Beach house in 5 years. What we want to do is we want to collapse that down to 4.5 years. Recapture, reallocate again, and collapse it down to 4 years. Recapture, reallocate again, and capture it down to 3.5 years. And if you can go from having your beach house in 5 years to having it reach at 3.5 years, it's significant. Okay? It's not always a leap. It's a series of iterations. Okay? And then identify the currency. Identify the currency, meaning if I want my time back, the currency is obviously time. If I need to fund something, then the currency is probably money, but we want to make sure that we're not making the same leap that Homeboy did in his example. Is it actually what he wanted was time, and he thought he needed money? Okay, so look at your thing, your priority, and decide what currency it is. You might need to use a different currency to get it, but first identify what currency it is. Understand that we do default to money, and we often miss the most efficient path forward. For example, I need 10 hours a week back, so I have to pay a bunch of people, which means I got to make more money to pay all those people, when in reality, You may be spending a whole bunch of time unnecessarily driving or sitting in traffic or watching TV or on calls that aren't productive, et cetera, et cetera. So let's recapture that time first, and then we figure out how big the gap is. And again, it's a series of iterations. Step 3, audit your allocation of that currency. So if the currency is time, this is how we audit it. We figure out where our time is actually going. Well, 2 hours in Netflix and 4 hours in traffic and 2 hours refreshing Microsoft Word because I can't think of what to say. That's all time, and all of that time can be recaptured. So we need to audit that. If currency is money, we say, where is all of my money going? And generally speaking, we're talking about recurring things. One-offs is a little bit different, but it's still part of the equation. And then analyze and audit your options. Okay, well, I'm spending 7 hours in the car. So I identified my currency as time and 7 hours in the car. Are there alternatives? Zoom out, look at your whole life. Are there things I haven't thought of or things I've been avoiding doing that would decrease the time I spend in the car? I am spending, in a business, a lot of times it's like tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in softwares that we don't even use. Okay, well, are there alternatives to these softwares? If you don't use them, get rid of them. Are there cheaper alternatives? Oftentimes there are. And it's just that we tend to stick with the first thing that we do. Okay, so analyze, audit your options. Just start thinking about it. That's the most important thing. And then where applicable, apply the 2 Oreo principle. The 2 Oreo principle is simply from Dan Nicholson again. And it says, okay, I'm going to cancel all my recurring charges that I don't use. And you cancel them all. And you save, I don't know, $120 a month. Okay? Well, then we turn around and we say, hey, look, that's whatever it is a year. And boom, it's over $1,000 a year. Recaptured. If it's time, 2 Oreo, say, okay, where's all my time going? Okay, I'm watching Netflix all day long. You might cancel Netflix. You get your time and your money back. Nothing wrong with not watching Netflix, by the way. It's just if you need more time and your time is going to something that is not one of your priorities, recapture it. So 2 Oreo principle is basically just looking at everything involving the currency and getting rid of everything that is not necessary. You can always add it back later. Now here, it's okay if you get stuck. And the important thing is that you're thinking about it. You may be looking at it, you may be looking at your audit, and you may be like, I don't see any other path forward. I don't know if there's any other softwares. I don't know how to do this without this subscription. And that's okay. You're thinking about it. It's an open loop. Leave it open. Think about it. You don't have to take action right away. You can just sit. And then you can go into that channel right here, or you can come to a workshop and you can see what others are doing, and you can share what you are doing. You can say, hey, my number one thing is time, and I just got a bunch of time back by doing this. 1, celebrate it. 2, we will celebrate it with you. And 3, somebody else might go, aha, I didn't think of that. And so we're helping each other, right? Wisdom comes from multiple perspectives. And we will have workshops in the Wolfpack Bronze level. I'll probably put an opt-in somewhere below this video. It will be announced in the Discord and the Success Finder, but if you want to get emailed and notified, then there'll probably be an opt-in under this video. It's totally optional. You can pay attention and get notified however you prefer to get notified. And Live to Learn, Give to Earn. I'll put a 6-word update here too. So if you're not in the Gardening Academy, or for some reason you want to share publicly, you just drop it on the 6-word update. And then, if you're new or you just want ideas, you can go to that 6-word update and you can read what other people are recapturing and reallocating. All right. So go through the exercise. Step 1, just number 1 priority and appropriate timeline. Nobody's going to judge you, and your preference is your preference. Step 2, identify the currency that you are trying to get more of. Okay? Don't assume that it's money. Audit your allocation of that currency. Okay, well, I think I need more energy. Where is my energy going? I think I need more attention, like a better attention span or more focus. Well, where is my energy? Where's my focus going now? Where's my attention going now? And then analyze and audit your options. And if it is obvious and appropriate, apply the 2 Oreo principle and then share with others. If you get stuck, feel free to ask questions. Okay? Can't wait to see you guys on the first workshop and work together to recapture, reallocate, repeat.